Well, it is a Black Sunday in Ondo State as gunmen have attacked St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, killing several worshippers. The governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, is optimistic that those responsible for the killing earlier today will not escape justice. No fewer than 40 persons have been confirmed dead in the gunman attack at St. Francis Catholic Church. And our correspondent, Ayodiji Muradio, reports, but would like to warn that some pictures may be disturbing.
It was a bad Sunday in Owo, the country home of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. The gunmen were ruthless as they carried out the attack with impunity. The bloodstains on the floor attest to what has happened here, and residents are left in shock. Dozens of dead bodies have been evacuated. Others who sustained gunshot injuries were rushed to two different hospitals in the town. Eyewitnesses gave accounts of how the incident happened.
Some follow for the back, run. Some follow, they start shooting somebody, some people for leg, from leg. You get one woman from back, from face, others shooting the leg, shooting. So, and now father now escaping, go inside the house. As that in before, after then, the soldiers, before the soldiers come, they don't escape. That is that. Then, no, priest is inside.
Finish the mass already. The priest is already on procession to come out. Then I get outside. I was trying to even to say, people, please give way, this is coming. Then the man just came in, very tall man like this. He just shot gun straight to the church straight. If to say aim me, he will kill me.
Brandon, Kathy, good evening. Today we spoke to many people who said they're still just trying to get a grip on the shootings that have happened here in the United States, and knowing that dozens of people were murdered in their country, it made them pretty upset and sad. Tonight they are praying for the families that have been affected and asking for change.
It's just unnecessary and uncalled for, and it's sad.
The Nigerian community saddened after a gunman opened fire on worshipers and detonated explosives at a Catholic church in southwest Nigeria Sunday morning.
I saw the video of, blood, people in church on the floor, people crying and all of that stuff.
The shooting left dozens of people and children dead.
Just immense sadness, feel so much pain for innocent families, kids, women, men even who went to church, to serve God or whatever, and ended up dying.
I spoke to Joyce Olashua Ogorinde, who is an assistant professor at the University of Houston. She says the tragedy hits home. She says there's over 150,000 Nigerians in the U.S., and Houston is home to the largest Nigerian population.
This is a hard one for a lot of people to come out and say something about, because there's real people's families that have been affected, and we don't even know to what extent, but we know that we're hurting with those who have lost their lives, their church members, their community members, and even political leaders.
The presiding president was abducted as well, but many Nigerians say the country struggles with security issues and something needs to change.
Those lost on a holy day in November. Abraham, who we are not identifying for his safety, is one of the many memory keepers of Maryam Dangalat, inspired by a tradition from the Orthodox religion to name the dead so they are never forgotten. CNN has been able to verify the identities of over 50 people who were killed there over the course of 3 days. But there may be more than double that. This is the story of one village, but families across Tigray have been sharing pictures of loved ones with CNN, whom they say have been killed in the violence across the region. A simple memorial to a Sunday school boy, eyewitnesses say, was killed by Eritrean troops at Maryam Dangalat on one of the most holy days of the year, the Festival of St. Mary. The shoes you see mark the shallow grave of 15-year-old Johannes Yusuf. Abraham took the shoes off each body he buried and placed them on top of the grave so families could identify which grave was their child's. Yusuf was one of more than 20 Sunday school children killed that day. More shoes, marking more grave sites where the children were hastily laid to rest. This video was secretly taken and smuggled out to CNN to avoid Ethiopian and Eritrean troops. The ground here is hard and rocky. Underneath the branches and sticks are the grave sites for the victims. These shallow graves are the best Abraham and those with him could do, he says, as Eritrean soldiers watched over them. At least it offers these small bodies some protection. But before we can tell you what happened, we first have to explain what has been happening since the beginning of November last year. It's been a tumultuous few years for Ethiopia. The Tigray People's Liberation Front ruled for almost 30 years until in 2018 demonstrations swept Abiy Ahmed to power. Billed as a reformist, Abiy won the Nobel Peace Prize for ending decades-long hostilities with neighboring Eritrea. Now Abiy and his one-time partner in peace, Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki, are accused of working together once more. Eyewitnesses tell CNN Eritrean troops are supporting Ethiopian forces in their battle in Tigray. They say they recognize their uniforms and dialect. Ethiopia denies Eritrean troops have crossed into the region. But in January, the US State Department said it had received credible reports of Eritrean troop involvement in the conflict in Tigray. And in a statement to CNN, they said Eritrean forces should be withdrawn from Tigray immediately. It is these Eritrean troops that villagers from Maryam Dangalat say entered and massacred their friends and family. Yet Abiy Ahmed denies any civilians were killed during military operations. Through dozens of witness testimonies, CNN has been able to recreate how the massacre at Maryam Dangalat unfolded. We chose 3 witnesses with differing vantage points to illustrate the full horror of what happened on that day last year. We must warn you that the testimonies you're about to hear are disturbing and graphic. Those who spoke to us risked their lives to do so, and we used animation and actors' voices to hide their identity. The day had begun a happy one. Desta was helping to prepare for the hundreds of pilgrims who come every year to celebrate the festival of the Feast of St. Mary. Suddenly, he heard gunshots. He could see Eritrean troops blocking the entry and exit points to the village. He fled.
I moved up to the mountain area. From a distance, I could see them taking people and shooting them.
This is a map of Dangalat. It sits inside a valley. Here is the church where Desta sees what happens, and here is the village where people are returning from morning mass. Marta and her family were returning from morning church services when she saw people running. She headed quickly home, where she was confronted by Eritrean troops.
They came to our house, then they told us to get out. There were a lot of soldiers outside, and they were saying, come out, you bitch. We said, we are civilian, showing our IDs. They didn't ask any question, they just opened fire.
Isaias, his sister, and his child fell to the ground, shot. Marta's husband, who was next to her, was also shot.
I thought he was going to survive, but he died.
This sketch is based on a real photograph taken months earlier. It's of Marta's wedding day. She is now expecting her first child. The killing continued. People told CNN some bodies lay out for as long as 5 days. The troops refused to allow them to bury the dead, even as hyenas and vultures preyed. Abraham, the memory keeper, had taken refuge in Dangalat from the war and devastation in his home village. Today, he was helping clean the church ahead of the festival. But instead, he became part of the team burying the dead. Among them, more than 20 school children in a mass grave.
They were all so young, and they took them and killed them together in a field.
Abraham and others registered the kids' names as best they could. One by one, the shallow graves were uncovered, and parents came to identify their children. Some so badly disfigured, they could only be identified by their clothing. Back in Dangalat, Abraham and others revisit the mass graves. Surrounding them are some haunting reminders of what happened during the massacre. A bloody jacket, some rope used to tie the victims. CNN asked Abraham to mark where these graves are located. You can see here the blue paint he used. Using this footage, we were then able to identify the grave's location. In response to CNN's reporting, the US State Department told CNN reports of a massacre at Mariam Dangalat are gravely concerning and demand an independent investigation. 51 out of the 53 pictures you see here were victims Abraham tells us he helped bury himself. Many of these photographs are from identity cards Abraham retrieved from the bodies. Abraham and many others continue to keep record, continue to risk their lives to keep alive the memories behind each name. It's a litany of loss, but for now, it's all they have to hold on to. Ni'am al-Baghir, CNN.
Nigeria and Ethiopia have concluded arrangements to hold a joint ministerial commission meeting in Addis Ababa next month to discuss various areas of bilateral relationship and exchange perspectives on a range of international issues of mutual interest. President Muhammadu Buhari hosted the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, to a state visit and a presidential lunch in the State House, Abuja, on Wednesday. Speaking to journalists after the visit, Nigeria's ambassador to Ethiopia, Victor Adeleke, explained that both countries are taking concrete steps to expand bilateral relations